addict.
Yes,
Being convinced we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood Him. Just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do?
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Now Javina is come to share her experience, understanding of that.
Okay, my name's Javina. I'm a recovered addict.
Javina.
Yeah, so it's really it's great to be in this meeting, and it's like coming up and coming to somewhere where it's quite like on the firing line and what we call the trenches, and like war fever. We're in the trenches right now. Like if we look outside, and I think that's amazing that there's a place, a hub, or a sanctuary almost for people with a condition that stops them from being able to stop the thing that's bringing them to a point of despair and that, and this is my experience, and that it's my experience. I was out there, I used to be out there walking around hopeless and confused and baffled by why I kept smoking crack and heroin even when I didn't want to, and I suppose for me, and I suppose like the stories, this is my progression can be stretched through years, and I suppose there's going to be people in it hasn't stretched for so many years, whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, and that, whether it's 10 years or 20 years. I think the only importance is that you try and hear that, this failure or utter inability to leave that drug you don't want to use anymore alone. Yeah, and I'm talking about I used to love taking drugs. Yeah, me personally, my experience, I didn't have anything that really made me go and take the drug, like a really extended trauma event or a really bad childhood or bullying or I felt misplaced by some way, and whatever that is, everyone's going to have a different experience while they pick the first drink or drug up. Yeah, whether it's just I liked what my friends were doing, it was great, that's my thing. I liked pills, really, that was my thing, and a bit of cocaine, and that hated weed, hated being monged out, and I hated munching. Females don't really like putting on that weight if you're going out partying on ecstasy, yeah? And I always remember feeling so free and floaty and everything. And I suppose some people would say that's still trying to fix yourself a little bit. What I realise now, and this is in hindsight of meeting someone that was recovered, is that, I can really make sense of why I'm picking up or why I started and really home into that, yeah? And it frees me up to stop looking at why, when I've sworn off and my experiences of it's dismantling things in my life, like my work was the main one, yeah? I loved work, and I always used to take cocaine with friends, and they could just go, right, that's enough now, they got to get up, and they'll put it aside. Me, I found myself continuing, and I think even then, I don't know if I was the hopeless addict as described in the book, because there's a lot of my friends that done that too, and but I do remember a time when I took some ease. I thought it was just I took the amount to match a boy that took 10, and I thought, I'll beat you and take 15, yeah, and it was on this lock-in pub where I used to MC a little bit, and I walked up this stairwell, I didn't consciously walk up the stairwell, I was just off my trolley, but I was on the edge of the roof with my hands up singing, remember R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly? I was singing that, ooh, yeah, and my friend pulled me back, and I remember feeling very petrified when I came over, the buzz and that, and I was shaking, and fuck, what have I done? And she told me about it, and I was just fuck, I'm not doing that again. And that took me away from work as well, because the come down was horrific, and probably took some other drugs as well. And I said no more, because I could see it slowly affecting the things that I loved, yeah? And, I was pretty cool in other areas, I wasn't, I could adapt to situations. I was quite street savvy, but I was quite smart academically, so I thought, leave that alone. Go back to work, and I really meant it. And I remember getting paid, going to work for 3 weeks, and then coming out of work and going, right, I'm going to buy some clothes and that. And all of a sudden, I was just let me get an apes and some of them pills again. Next to Charlie, get some pills and you know, what I'll do, I'll take the Charlie first and have the pills later, you know, when my friends come around. And I'll stay in today because last time I was out, I was standing on this roof. So if I stay in and party, have a little house party, it'll be better. And that led me to like a long spree. It wasn't short, it was long. I missed work every day. I missed that for a month and it continued, yeah? And I would stop again. It would stop and I would just be like, fuck this, man, not doing it again. A couple of weeks, my head tells me, you know, maybe you should smoke that thing that people are smoking on the pipe over there at this party. Like, that would be different. And that was crack. Yeah, that was the first time I had crack cocaine. And I smoked this and, you know, another spree. And I think it's just like, it's not the amount, and I'm not saying what I'm taking, the drug and the substance, or the amount or the consequences, yeah? Because my consequences went really crap. They were really awful, yeah? But it's not that, you know. Now I see that it's like, you know, at each given time when I have that thought to use, I'm forgetting that just that week ago I swore off because I was singing on this roof and could have jumped over, yeah? I'm forgetting that. I'm forgetting the pain. I'm forgetting it's shit, and I'm forgetting that it's taken me away from my job and that. I'm forgetting it's taken away from my family. I'm just forgetting, and no matter how much I try and how many things I try and put in place, I'm still taking the drug, yeah? And the main thing that used to trap me is that I couldn't give any substantial reason that would justify me picking that thing up that's causing so much pain, yeah? Not just to me, to my family, because I can see my mum's crying and that. My nan's petrified because I'm coming home like a shivering wreck. And I just didn't understand it. Like, I just didn't understand it. And, you know, this is stretching for a few years now, and, you know, everything started to go. Job, flat, lifestyle, hygiene, look, clothing. Like, it was just dismantle. But even when them consequences got worse and I started doing other stuff for drugs, and, you know, we've all done what we've done, doesn't matter how bad it is, when I come out of them situations, I swear off again, and I mean it, and then my mind says to me, it's okay, yeah? My mind says, you know, like, have some heroin, don't smoke crack, that will do it, yeah? And now I've got the heroin habit, and each time now, like I say, now I see that each time I will try and match this up. I will try and have this plausible excuse. So, like, you know, my mum pissed me off and that, you know, she pissed me off. She said I didn't turn up and that deserves or warrants me smoking heroin today. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I would then stay away from my mum. Yeah? I've gone to even Turkey and that ain't worked. And, you know, and this battle with this condition of trying to assert the power that I display in other areas isn't working. And what do I do next? So I just keep trying and I keep trying, and I think that's normal, isn't it? Like, if I don't want something in my life, I'm going to try and eliminate it. But every time I try to eliminate it, I still did it. Yeah? So there's this failure that we have and that. And now, from meeting someone recovered, they told me the failure is in my memory. Yeah? I forget what this really does. I forget that crack or any mind-altering substance doesn't go too well for Javina, yeah? Doesn't matter how much experience I have, doesn't matter how much knowledge I have, doesn't matter how many courses, how many strategies, how much love I have for my family, I will smoke crack, heroin, sniff, take ketamine, M-Dizzle, whatever it is, and I'll be off again. And my willpower then will match that, because if my mind's telling me it's okay, my hand's going to pick the pipe up, yeah? So after being so mangled, yeah, I got put in a position to move area when I turned up to this Cocaine Anonymous meeting, you know, with everyone like, hi, we do cuddles here, no shaking hands. You know, do you want tea and biscuits? Great, amazing. But they were talking about the same thing, and they were all different, yeah, they were all different cultures, you know, different looks, male, female, you know. And they didn't tell me that I weren't going to do it again. They told me you're going to keep doing it again. Yeah, they kept telling me you're going to keep relapsing. And then slowly I started hearing what I said about the memory and the willpower failure. And I was like, fuck, how am I going to sort that out, man? You know, how do you sort your memory out? Like, if I go to the doctor, he ain't putting me in surgery, yeah? He's going to probably, hopefully, send me either treatment, which I don't know, it could work for some people, but he will say probably 12 steps, yeah? He will say that, yeah? So they told me that there is a solution to this, yeah? But they said to me, there's nothing you can do to prevent this relapse stuff. And I'm like, well, that's what I want to do. They said, there's nothing you can do. So they kept going, you. And I was going, huh? And they're like, you. And I was like, okay, me, great. Yeah, so I slowly got that, yeah? I slowly understood that, and it disturbed the hell out of me, yeah? It didn't make me go, woo, and I'm jumping up and down in meetings. I was like, fuck, I'm fucked. Yeah, excuse my language. I'm absolutely, this has annihilated anything that I think, yeah? It's put me in a position of hopelessness. Because I thought hopelessness was all my consequences. But the hopelessness to me is that I can't do anything about the relapse and I can't fix this problem. And then they would pop up with, there's a solution, as we know, yeah? Mm-hmm. There's a solution. They told me the spiritual answer that they have found and outlined a program of action, yeah, which many have followed and many have recovered from this. And, you know, even the word recovered and that, you know, today I say that I'm recovered because I'm not employing any strategies to prevent my relapse and keep myself clean and sober. This, why I'm sitting in this seat, has nothing to do with me. The way I look at life today is nothing to do with me, and this is where the step 3 I believe comes into play. It's like, you know, I've got to understand this. Am I the true alcoholic it describes? Yeah? Yeah, do I admit that? Yeah, because everyone can say I admit I'm powerless. Do I know what that powerless means? That means I have no power to stop the relapse. I have no power to stop my mind twisting again. And I'm not going to be able to stop putting my hand on that crack pipe even when I don't want to do it, yeah? So I admit that, and my life is pretty fucked by now. So, yeah, cool, man, I can see that, yeah? And probably no human power. So the 3 permanent ideas, human power. My mum, niece, you know, partner, you know, you guys, yeah. You guys can't prevent my relapse. No matter how many times I sit with Carl and that, yeah, he ain't gonna prevent my relapse, man, yeah. Yeah, that was in the meeting, because I was like, well, you guys are the power. And they were like, I ain't gonna last. Yeah, nothing Cuban, Javina. I was like, but you sort of found God in that. They said, but you're taking my power. You've got to find your own power. Yeah? I was like, all right. But this is the thing as well, this God idea and that, you know, like, you know, we decided, are we convinced when we decided to turn our will of life to the care of God. Now, a lot of people, and I've had a little bit of it where it had to be smashed out. It's like, I'm going to turn the will over for God to just sort this problem of relapse. That got smashed out of me. Because basically what they were saying is that, you know, why are priests relapsing? They can't apply the power to prevent the relapse. It's another strategy, like I'll quickly find God, all faith, sit there like a bloody guru, yeah? And they said to me that it's a process of discovery, yeah? And you have nothing to do with when that happens. And the biggest thing this is saying is that if it's saying the first step, yeah, is admitting to my innermost self, this step is to step aside and wait for something to happen. Witness and experience, yeah? I turn this in all my affairs. So I've got to look at it in my direction and my thinking. It's like, you know, I start seeing very carefully that, like, you know, clearly, should I say, that I can be playing God a lot, innit? Yeah, all this playing God crap. And I didn't think I did, but I truly am, isn't it? It's just like, you know, I'm still certain power. I still want power in this area. I still want to do this and I still want to do that. When I step back, we call it surrender, isn't it? Throw in the towel, abandon yourself. Put the white flag up, man. Which is hard, isn't it? It's hard, you know. Like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this. It doesn't work for me. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. So just what we do, what do we mean? And just what we do. Well, I know what that means. It means step aside. It means wait for a process. And what do I do now? I had to follow someone that's done it. Yeah, like, you know, that's actually followed this. I couldn't just go, right, what do? I'll just do what I want to do, yeah? I had to follow some clear directions. And I personally, for me, I needed someone to really be quite regimental with me, be quite stern, yeah? Deflate my ego and my pride a lot of the time, because I do have that, yeah? and see in each element of my life where I'm still trying to play God, yeah, where I'm still trying to run the show, yeah, asking for direction and thinking, because we say prayers in the morning, and especially the step 3 prayer, everyone's probably all right with that declaration or the prayer, whatever you want to call it. And you know, at first when I read that prayer, it was just like I'm saying it because of scare and fear and it, like, yeah. When I broke that prayer down, and my sponsor said to me, you know, really look what it's saying, and that all of what you're saying and asking God to help you with is that it states right there straight away early in step 3 is like, so I can help for the people that I can help. It's all about serving, yeah. It's all about taking something away, stepping aside and taking something away. I mean, this is drastic, isn't it? Yeah, like I say this really politely, yeah, because it's just like, you know, if you do these steps, you're going to get it. Yeah, you're going to get this, yeah. And it's not my experience from working with others, yeah, it's not my experience. Yeah, it's not my experience to see people just come in and rock it through and have long-term sobriety. Yeah, and so I'm talking in hindsight and in watching what happens, and the people that I work with. Some people come get past step 3 and relapse. Some people going through the whole program and getting years and relapsing. Yeah, and it might sound really hopeless then, yeah? It's like, well, what's the point in that? But the thing is, this illusion can come back very quickly. We call it the illusion of power. It can come back very quickly. I can start believing that if I do paint by numbers 12 steps, it's going to prevent the relapse. Yeah, it's going to stop my relapse. So it's a process of being picked away at, that the 12 steps is not another relapse prevention tactic. The 12 steps is clearing a pathway to this relationship, which I call God. I call it God, yeah, I call it God. That's my own conception, you know. And that's pretty hard, because we can go into this thinking, if I do a big step 4, if I do this, if I do that, I'm not going to relapse. And I've seen that happen, and I've seen people relapse. So what would I say now is just like, you cannot force this process. You cannot force having the spiritual experience. You cannot speed it up. Yeah, you could not wish it. Yeah, you just have to step back each time. Yeah, quit playing God and witness an experience happening. And you will see it happening in your lives. Well, we're seeing it right now, isn't it? Look how many of us are in here and we're not out there. Yeah, that's witnessing in the experience. So, because I know sometimes I can ramble and go on some next little journey. Yeah. Yeah. So, where was I? So, you know, my main purpose, what's this giving me now? So, you know, all the hopelessness, great, painful. So I suppose the hope. Well, once I witness the experience, I see that certain attitudes and certain conceptions and my idea of life has totally changed. It's like done a full circle, man. You know, I don't behave the way I used to. I can't see an element of that. I may talk with my accent still. That's probably what you're going to hear. It's Cockney accent at times, or a little bit of road and that. But the main thing, my main purpose is that I cannot help but help another addict still suffering. I can't. It's not that I have to force that. I just can't not do it. I don't know where that's come from. I can't explain it. And when someone that I work closely with said, if you can't explain that, that's a spiritual experience, man. If you can't explain why you could have stayed in and you got here today on the possibility there might be a newcomer, or the possibility there would not be a newcomer, there's only 2 of us. Yeah, would you have done that before? Probably not. Of course not. Yeah. And that's our purpose here, you know. What are we doing this all for? You know, I get to that 12 steps to carry a message to the suffering addict still. Yeah. But there's going to be times when I'm out there and I can still help other people. They're not all addicts, you know. And that's important as well. We've got to take this into all our life affairs, yeah, because I still see that sometimes, isn't it? We'll do it here in CA, but out there I'll be the twat, yeah. And we've got to try and mimic this in all our affairs. And I think that's a natural thing that happens. You know, I'm really grateful to be here. It's a beautiful meeting. I kind of feel a bit serene, like yes, but yeah, man, I hope that's you may have had a clear understanding of the problem and a clear understanding of the solution. I'll finish on this, yeah. At this step 3 stage, a lot of us sometimes we can skip quite past it. I do believe that at this stage and that your conception of God will have to have some sort of characteristics, yeah? I think that's important, man. I think that's important. Have a look at that, like, you know, what your idea, explore that, man. And it's okay, like, you know, like you get passed things on by sponsors or other people, but trust that. There's a guy that I listen to a lot, and he says that each and every one of us has this like spiritual GPS system, yeah? And it will just put you somewhere and that, and don't feel scared of that, man. Sit there and experience it. If you don't like it, it's not going to harm you, is it? You just go back over there, isn't it? And that's true to my experience, you know, that's true to my experience. I've experienced some beautiful meditations that I would never have done before, but my conception of God to me represents love, oneness, yeah, and that's in everything and everything. I believe that in everybody, and doesn't mean I won't feel a bit annoyed by people and that, you know, it doesn't mean that, man. But yeah, like explore this at step 3 and that, and have a kind of good idea of what that conception of God is. I think that's it, because I think that's shutting it down a bit. Thank you very much, Javina. Thank you.
Thanks, Javina.